Welcome to Don't Quote Me on That. One day we will have an intro, but today is not that day.
Hello, hello, hello. I am Kalina, and welcome back to Don't Quote Me on That, where we kind of talk about movies. I know I say this every time I do an episode by myself, but this will in fact be a short episode because I don't actually have a plan. I am not prepared. And you know what? Listen, for the first time in a year, I'm not prepared. I don't have a plan, and I think we can all forgive me, right? But what I decided I was going to do was come and talk to you guys. I'll give you like a quick little 20-minute episode. You can binge our other ones in the meantime. Life's just getting a little hectic for Eleanor and I, so hopefully we will be back together next week. I know you had Eleanor by yourself last week. You have me by myself, so hopefully next week we're together again. And actually, I just remembered my birthday's coming up soon, so Eleanor, if you're listening to this, I get to subject you to whatever I want for my birthday episode. I think my birthday's on a Saturday, so close enough to Friday. So we'll make Eleanor suffer through something together. But anyway, I was trying to decide what to talk about that was media related, blah 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 blah. So I'll just talk about all the little media things I've seen, gone through the last since I checked in with you guys last, right? So we're getting right into this. Oh, actually, on YouTube, I'll see if I can find the video. I actually have my YouTube pulled up right now. I was watching a video by Jack Edwards, who is he's the one booktuber, I guess, I watch. Him, and I watch Carrie Can Read. But Carrie Can Read, I know, is not a booktuber primarily. She does have a main channel, which I've never seen, but Carrie Can Read is kind of her side thing. But it does pretty well. She does interesting videos. My favorites are when she reads a series that her fans have recommended and then critiques it. Because when I don't have time to read, especially this past year or so, and I want to get stuck into something, it's watching her is me microdosing reading a book series, especially a trashy one. Also, if you hear a bell jingling, our favorite co-host Atticus is back. But Jack Edwards did a video that I haven't finished, but I did start watching. It's 45 minutes about the complicated ethics of ghostwriters and celebrity books. And I thought that was very interesting because, like I said, I'm not finished with the video, but he's kind of already changing my mind in the sense that I was of the opinion that ghostwriters, and if you don't know what a ghostwriter is, it's basically someone who for example, celebrity books. The one he was talking about was Millie Bobby Brown's book. So it says by Millie Bobby Brown with, and I can't remember the girl's name, I apologize, but with Catherine, for example, or whatever the lady's name is. And basically they really do, I would say, the heavy lifting. This happens a lot with celebrity books, but sometimes there's other books, which also made me think of, and I don't know if this has a different name. I'll see if I can Google it. But I find it really interesting when there's the same genre of book by a specific author, but the author is a pen name for multiple authors, if that makes sense. Which, according to my quick little Google search here, is something like a collective name or a house name. I can't think of an example. I just remember learning about that a while ago. It happens a lot with those I don't want to say trashy, but those the type romance novels and horror novels, I think, as well, will happen a lot where they're just banging them out. So the pen name is just kind of the author's name is just a name for a collective group of people who kind of carry on this legacy, which I think is really interesting because Jack Edwards was talking about the merits of being a ghostwriter in the sense that one good thing about it is these are people whose writing probably wouldn't have gotten published if it weren't for this backing, whatever it is. In the case of the Millie Bobby Brown book, a celebrity backing, people know what they're paying for and what they're getting into. Some people the majority of people are obviously paying because it's the celebrity's name to it. So there's this idea of ghostwriting being exploitative, but the ghostwriters also know what they're getting into. They willingly agree to that, which Jack pointed out. And while I knew that, I think the way he framed it was really interesting. So I'm kind of shifting my thoughts on that. I do think ghostwriting is sort of a cheap a cheap way out, especially for celebrities who have no reasons to write books. I don't mind a ghostwriter as much if it's like... You don't mind a ghostwriter either? I don't mind a ghostwriter as much if it's like a celebrity biography, because not everyone's a writer, but they want to share their life story. That's totally fine. Like, not everyone can transfer storytelling skills into the written form, which like totally makes sense. I just think when it's a book that has like a fiction novel, there's no reason you shouldn't write the book. Like, there's no to me there's no reason to have a ghostwriter. If you as a celebrity want to write a fiction novel, write one. Like, if you don't have the skills and the merit to write one on your own, you probably shouldn't be writing a book. And not in a rude way, just that's not where your strong suit is, and you should stick to where your strong suits are. But Jack also compared it to... I'm saying Jack like we're friends. Hey, Jack Edwards, we're best buddies. But he compared it to, like, when Ariana Grande releases a perfume. Like, she's obviously not... I have a madman on my hands here, guys. She's obviously not in the factory, mixing the concoctions, figuring out the formula. She just smells it. He's like, she might not even do that, but she just approves the perfume. And I always think if I was famous, I'd want to be involved. Obviously, I'm not a chemist, okay? So I'm not going to be making perfume. But I'd want to be involved. I'd want to do things that, like, I had an actual hand in, which I'm sure is hard to do, especially with all the commitments celebrities seem to have in the 50 places they need to be at once. So while I'm kind of shifting into less, I don't see it as exploitative anymore. I do still have reservations about the whole ghostwriter thing. So that's my first thought. If anything changes, I'll keep you updated after I finish the video. Then the next thing I was thinking about, which of course I can't remember now, I've listened to the radio a lot. I have Sirius XM in the car, and I listened to I think it's called Hair Nation, which is fun. And they were talking about this band called Kix. One thing I've noticed listening to that station, I listen to Hair Nation, I listen to Octane, I listen to Classic Vinyl, I like that one. And I have also Classic Rewind. Then the Frank Sinatra station, sometimes I flip to. They have a Broadway station I'll flip to if there's a good song on. And then a couple others. But those are my main rotation, basically. Hair Nation, Classic Vinyl, Classic Rewind, Octane, right? And one of my favorite things about listening to those stations, or like the 80s on 8, 70s on 7, is like songs I know really well and bands I know really well, but like I didn't know that specific song was by that specific band, if it makes sense. Like, it's a song, and I hear it, I'll sing along, but I would never think of the song outside of that context of hearing it on the radio or hearing it at a party. And it's a band I know of, but like, I never put two and two together, so I think that's interesting. But anyway, I heard of this band called Kix, spelled Kix. And they had a really good song that I actually added to my playlist, which was Love Me With Your Top Down. And I like songs with those sort of euphemisms. And then it also and when they first said, oh, this is the band Kix, I was like, he's saying Kiss really weird. And I was like, this is not a Kiss song, because I was listening to it. I was like, this is not a Kiss song. And it's not. It's Kix, Kix. And apparently they are an American glam metal and hard rock band from the 70s, 80s. And a lot of, apparently they did a lot of covers of AC/DC, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, before they finally signed with with the label. And they recently disbanded, and by recently I mean in 2023 they disbanded, so that's really interesting. And that brings me back, I remember why I brought this up. I was talking with someone at work, with two people at work, my coworker and then one of our clients, about bands going on reunion tours and what are the merits of that versus, like, when it's genuine that they want to go on a reunion tour and they want to get back together and make music together versus when it's like very clearly a cash grab, and how you kind of lose respect for an artist when it's that case. And my bar is like, if you're not touring with people that were in the band when the band was active and big and famous, I really don't think you can justify it. Like Motley Crue, I know Motley Crue is touring, and how Mick Mars had to stop performing with them because it just was too, not even like things with the, at least from what I understood and what I remember, he didn't leave the band because of issues with the band or the music or like whatever was going on. It was, he had issues like just physically performing those shows. It's hard work to like go on stage and perform, so he was just having a hard time with that, which like I understand. And in that case, like I get it, you want to keep touring. It's not so much for like he no longer has love for the music and no longer believes in the project. It's just like his body can't keep up with that. But when you have bands who are like getting back together and no one in there has anything to do with anything, like you might have one guy, the lead singer, and of course I can't think of an example now, but we were talking about that and how like I think at a certain point you gotta throw the towel in. I can't believe I'm going to say this on God's internet. I love the Eagles. We all know the Eagles are my favorite band. But, like, I think the Eagles have just... And they're doing a farewell tour. And they've been doing a farewell tour for a while. But, like, I appreciate it. I almost went to go see them. It just didn't work out for me. But I think that, like, at a certain point, they got to throw the towel in, right? Because Glenn Frey died. And they were touring with his son. And I was like, that's not the same. And it feels a little odd, but at the same time, like, if who better to tour with than, you know, his son. But then his son stopped touring with them, and they've got another guy, and then it's just like too many things have changed, which also always brings me back to the idea of like, when is a band no longer a band? Because I think it's very interesting. Like, take Panic at the Disco, for example. Panic at the Disco is a great example, where they had all these people, and someone left, and then someone else left, and, like, it's still using the same name. And, like, is it really still Panic at the Disco? Or, like, when you're reading a band's Wikipedia article, and it's like, the band started with... I'm going to make up names because I cannot think of a concrete example, and I don't feel like Googling anything right now. So, like, the band started with frontman David, and lead guitarist Ryan, and bassist Sam, and drummer, I don't know, Dylan. I'm trying to give these people gender neutral names, I guess. And then, you know, what did I say? Ryan, the lead guitarist, left the band for whatever reason, and then in came John, and then Dylan left. Dylan stopped playing drums, and then we brought in Kevin. And then Sam left the band, and we brought in some other guy. And then the lead singer left the band, we brought in a girl, you know? Like, all the parts have moved, but because at some point everyone was preceded by someone who was under the original name of the band, it's still technically the band. And to me, that's, like, really odd. And I think, like, I don't know, I think if I joined a band and I was looking around, I was like, none of us were here when this band started, I feel like we should change our names. Just out of respect. But, like, at the same time, like, that's the nature of the world. That's just me being nitpicky about things. I just think I think about that a lot. If anyone has any thoughts or like to weigh in on that, let me know. I would like to have this debate with someone other than myself. What else? Look at my playlist here for you guys, because, you know, I haven't watched anything interesting besides that Jack Edwards video, which, again, I can't even sit down and finish a 45-minute video, so... Oh, Blink-182 released a song. This kind of was why I brought back the whole, like, getting back together thing, is they released One More Time. And I was expecting to think it was stupid, because why are you all, at your big age, getting back together to make music that you made when, you know, we were all set? But, like, that's a little mean. But, like, it just seemed a little random and just a little bit like, hey, this is a good way for us to make some cash, right? But I heard the song... And while I did think the song was a little, like, on the nose about the message, I did really like it, and it was a lot more emotional and touched me a lot more than I thought it would. Like, especially when he goes, do I have to die to hear you miss me? Do I have to die to say goodbye? I really love that part, and it gets stuck in my head, and then I get a little emo about it. But then also it was a little on the nose. It was like, it shouldn't take an illness or an airplane falling from the sky. And like, do you know what the guys of Blink-182 suffered through, respectively? An illness and an airplane falling out of the sky. But at the same time, like, I think when it comes to a message like that, which I try to live by, and I think is very important, it's like, you can't wait, because you never know. People could die. You could die any day. So you should just love the people you have now. Tell them you love them now, and don't wait for some like future day to profess your love and do the things you want to do, right? Yeah, right. I don't know what the point I was saying before that was, but anyway. So there was that. Anyway, I was very impressed. So I am a little interested to hear what they release after this. I did also really love the "This Is Not Our Album" cover. So I thought that was funny. I think when you get to that age and you get to that level of notoriety, you could just not care and still, like, it'll be the most brilliant thing anyone's ever heard. Blink-182 are pioneers in the way that we've talked about Fall Out Boy being pioneers, where when you listen to bands inspired by Fall Out Boy, you're like, oh my god, I can see the Fall Out Boy influence. But when you listen to Fall Out Boy, it's most, like, at least for me personally, I never go, oh, they sound like this, they sound like this. I listen to Fall Out Boy, I'm like, that's a Fall Out Boy song. They have a sound, they have defined the genre, they have evolved with music of the time while still maintaining this core sound that can be described as nothing other than what Fall Out Boy can produce. And Fall Out Boy has their members, okay? When we were talking about, when the client and my coworker and I were talking about the members, we also discussed Queen and like having Adam Lambert come in. And like, to me, that's a little different in the sense that Queen is more than just the music. It's more than just these individual band members. Queen was like a flagship for, it was so much bigger than just the music. And there's nothing wrong with just being a band that makes good music. I love bands that make good music, there's nothing, you don't have to have like a reputation or like a thing beyond that. But Queen is just Queen, And then the clients, I talked about Adam Lambert. He was like, yeah, at first I thought it was weird, but like when you have a voice like that and that sort of presence, you have to put it somewhere. And like, where better to put it than Queen, I like Adam Lambert. I didn't have a problem with it. I just thought it was a really interesting choice when I found out about that. A lot of people talk about Journey and how the frontman of Journey is like not the same, and a lot of people have debates about which one's better. And some people are like, I don't listen to like anything after Steve Harry. But, like, my man, I don't remember the other guy's name, but he earned his rights, like, fair and square, They picked him for a reason. Anyway, that's just me that's my little chit-chat. I also discovered a band on TikTok, which is a sentence I hate having to say, but, they did one of those videos when it's 2008, and you found a band that sounds like, or, like, a new Panic at the Disco song dropped, or when it's 2023 and you found a band that sounds like Panic at the Disco and blah, 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 blah. It was one of those sort of videos. But unfortunately, the song did go kind of hard and it did sound like old Panic at the Disco. And, representation alert, they have a black guy. I think it's 2 of them. So I'm interested to see that album. They said if they it was like, it was one of those like, if you pre-save it, we'll drop this single early. And the single was really good. And the band is called Pop Tropica Sluts with a Z at the end, a Z exclamation point. I liked it a lot. I'm not an easy person to please. I'm sure this will shock no one. No, I'm just messing. But I was surprised I liked it so much and actually like lived up to what it defined its sound as. And it was like one of those, you get this many pre-saves, release this song early. I think they just said that because I think they've gotten more than what they need, but they have not released the song early. But it's fine. So check that out whenever it comes out. I think it's October 13th their album comes out. So if I can convince Eleanor, we'll do a little review of it. If not, I'll try and do like a mini review on TikTok or something. You'll catch me somewhere, I'm sure. If it's good, I will bring it up at some point in time. Oh, speaking of TikTok songs, there's that song by that person, Sawyer Hill, who has that like absolutely insane voice, long hair, and it says, "When you say that I'm the only one, did you mean that I was the closest one around?" And just devastating, cut to your heart. Oh, I'm sorry, totally like not related to anything at all. I just saw 5 Seconds of Summer song, and I need my TikTok FYP page. Sorry, that's redundant. I need my TikTok FYP to stop showing me close-up videos of Callum Hood at the 5 Seconds of Summer show dates performing really any song live, but I've been getting a lot of Babylon, Why Won't You Love Me, Amnesia, which is bad for me. Babylon, big Callum song. Love that song. I don't need to see him sing it up close and personal. It makes me sad. Why Won't You Love Me? Self-explanatory. I don't need to see him sing that up close and personal. He has my favorite verse. Him and Michael have my favorite verse on that song. It makes me sad. Amnesia. Self-explanatory. And then, like, I saw that man. I know it's a Mikey song, but Wrapped Around Your Finger is one of my favorite 5 Seconds of Summer songs ever. I saw them perform it live. That is all the emotional turmoil my heart can take for the year. So, TikTok algorithm, I know you're listening. Please give me a break. Oh my goodness. I know I talked about Wrapped Around Your Finger all the time and how it's not released and it's a really good song and it's one of their best. And I can't believe I totally forgot to mention before in previous episodes another one of their best unreleased songs. I don't even think this was like a released in certain places song. I just think this straight up wasn't released. It's When You Walk Away. If you haven't heard When You Walk Away by 5 Seconds of Summer, go listen to it right now. I give you full permission. Stop listening to this episode. Go to YouTube. Look up When You Walk Away, 5 Seconds of Summer. Listen to that. And then after you finish listening to it 500 times, because that's the only appropriate response when you hear that song is to listen to it on a loop. Come back to me. Let me know I was right. You know, another song, totally unrelated. I'm wrapping up, I promise. But I just saw in my playlist, I'd added Måneskin's latest single, Honey, Are You Coming? Which reminded me, another song I listened to on a loop is their cover of Somebody Told Me. And then another thing, the dots are connecting, folks. Another thing I listened to on a loop was their cover of this Italian song that I will not attempt to pronounce because I will butcher it. But I should have it here, and I will tell you what it is, actually. It is AMANDOTI. And I had seen a clip of them singing the song with some other Italian guy. And so I like seen a clip and I really liked the sound of the song. And I thought it was a cover of like a rock song because of how Måneskin play. So I went looking for it because like I listen to a lot of music in other languages. I'm not fussy. If I like the song, I like the song. I don't really care if I understand the words. But it turned out like a lot of them don't sound like that. But I did find a cover they did solo because I really like the other guy's voice. But I found a cover they did as a band solo of that song. So I listened to that a couple times on YouTube. So again, it's AMANDOTI. And the gist of it is like, loving you fatigues me. But then when the chorus comes, he's like, but loving you consoles me. So like, even if it's for another year, another month, just another hour, like, love me. Really good. Like the sentiment. I found one of those like English translation videos on YouTube. So I was listening to that a couple times. But anyway, that is your episode. I know it is an episode in the loosest sense of the term. And it did start out as an episode just to say I gave you guys an episode. But I liked this little chat. I think it'd be more fun if there was someone else. So if anyone ever wants to be on the show, Eleanor and I have gone this long without having a co-host. Not a co-host, a guest. We had guests a couple times when we used to do this as a radio show. And we had guests, or I had guests on the other radio show I used to do. And I really like it. It's really fun to get a different perspective. You've heard Eleanor and I, if you've listened to the show before. Eleanor and I either disagree completely on things or we agree so much it's like kind of scary. So you never really get any sort of in between. So if anyone ever wants to be a guest, if anyone who knows me is listening to this and wants to pop on the show, please come. I'm tired of talking to myself. We'll have a lot of fun. And if nothing else, it'll be something different. So comment down below. If anyone has any foreign language song recommendations for me, let me know. Let me know what you guys thought about the new Blink-182 single. If that's like your jam, that's your type of music, let me know, because I know it's a thing when bands come back to like have very mixed reviews, and some fans are like, this is just like their old stuff, and some fans are like, oh my god, this is nothing like their old stuff. So I kind of want to see where along the fence I lie, because I haven't really looked too much into the reviews. So yeah. Anyway, I have been Kalina. I think for the first time in my life stuck to my time limit, and Atticus has tired himself out and is now taking a nap. All right, have him say goodbye to you guys. But I will see you next week. Definitely not solo. I am manifesting it for me and for you. Everyone take care. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. Don't quote me on that. One day we'll have an outro, but it's not today.